merong report that you are planning to run again in 2022. For what position have you decided already? Malapit na yung filing of certificates of candidacy.
Yes, I have decided that I will be running for the Senate.
Mhm. Ano po yung takeaway nyo from your previous attempt? Dahil natalo lahat ng 8 diretso noong 2019.
19.
Tama po yun. Actually, marami akong takeaways from that mid-year election. In the first place, being newbie ako noon, it was quite an experience for me and a challenging journey. We did not have much resources. We did not have a ground crew that could really fight the ground war. We were at a tremendous disadvantage when it came to the air war, especially when you talk about television ads, which were and are so costly. But I've had 2 years to think about it and to plan how to wage a better campaign. And my time, a lot has changed. The political landscape has changed. My
Yes.
team is, we have seen how important it is that to have a good message and to really take advantage of the social media platforms that are out there.
Sir,
Yeah,
so
I
how
was going to
different is it?
ask you about the political environment. Especially in the context of President Duterte's huge popularity, which did not seem to be affected even by the pandemic. But with recent hearings in the Senate, especially on the family involvement of presidential aides and friends, do you think that the political environment is now more friendly toward opposition people like you?
Definitely. The midterm election was very difficult, especially for local government officials. They naturally were aware that the president would remain in power for the next 3 years, and therefore it was very hard for us in the opposition to get their cooperation in many parts of the country. But now the president's term is ending, and there's no assurance that he or his people will win the next election. So the local government officials, the ground war, to state it that way, is much more open now. The landscape as far as what they call the air war is also much more open now because people have really shifted to social media. What used to be only the domain of television and radio, marami na ngayon. We do almost everything online. We shop online, we learn online, we socialize online. And that has leveled the playing field to some extent. Of course,
But there's also a lot of trolling online. I mean, and you can imagine that they're not going to spare any effort to, politicians in general, and not just the administration, but you can imagine how much mudslinging there will be there.
The other
online.
thing that has changed as well is I think the more and more people are more willing to voice out their opinion about what's happening in the government. While it's true that in the surveys the president still enjoys substantial support, if you look at the other questions asked, which do not mention his name, but which refer to the performance of his government, he doesn't get those numbers. And I think part of that is the fact that if you were an ordinary person and somebody knocks on your door whom you don't know and mentions the name of Duterte and asks your opinion about him, I'm not sure people would be forthright and straightforward in answering that question in the same way that they would answer a question that only refers to the management of his administration. I think we can gauge that those questions are really more sincere in terms of the responses.
Okay, sir, you're running for the Senate. Then I should ask you, who are you running with and who is your standard bearer going to be? Napag-desisyon na po ba kung sino ang standard bearer ninyo?
Sa ngayon po, Ed, ako ay isang independent. I have not joined or allied or affiliated with any particular political party. It may happen, but at this point, I am determined to remain an independent. Now, of course, I have publicly stated and I still support fully the initiative of Isang Bayan to come up with a unity slate. And I do hope that that will happen because tingin ko lalaki talaga ang tsansa ng opposition pag magsama-sama lahat and we can all unite behind a common slate.
Okay, what platform will you be running on when you run? Is it still going to be human rights? Or are you going, yeah, go
The
ahead.
platform I ran on in 2019 was really justice. And I still carry that advocacy because it's so close to my heart. But because of the pandemic, we have more immediate matters that must be addressed by government. We have issues concerning the delivery of health services to our people. We have issues concerning the MSMEs who have been neglected by this administration. The MSMEs, the micro, small, and medium enterprises, actually employ 64% of our workforce. So pag nung sila ay natamaan and talagang grabe ang epekto sa kanila, that also affected unemployment and underemployment in the country. And people are really feeling that. So that must be addressed. The other issue I think that is connected there is the right to education. Kasi yung tinatamaan pag talagang nagkukulang ang ating kabataan pagdating sa pag-aaral, it's not their fault. It's really, to me, the fault of government. That's not just going to affect them. It's going to affect the entire country. We need to return to face-to-face schooling as soon as we can in a safe way. And that can only happen if we reach herd immunity, if we get 60-70% of the people vaccinated. Kaya ako, nababahala din ako na hanggang ngayon ay nasa 14% pa lang yata tayo, or 14 or 15%. So it's not going to happen very soon, but it has to happen because the online learning is really not a viable solution to the problem. Marami talaga naiiwanan dahil sa online learning. We have to go back to face-to-face schooling as well.